The story begins with a girl named Nishino Akane. She arrives at the school where she is greeted by the students, who admire her very much except for a student named Kagano. Nishino greets Kagano, but he responds by saying her name wrong. She corrects him, but Kagano still does not say her name correctly. Nishino says in her mind that she is very resentful of Kagano because they have been sitting next to each other for 3 months and he has never looked directly at her. Nishino says that she is a celebrity, but she has trauma from a scandal that she had some time ago, and so she has to wear a mask when communicating with others. After school, Nishino calls her chauffeur, but he doesn't pick up. She decides to walk home alone. From the school rooftop, Kagano sees Nishino leaving the school. As Nishino walks down the street toward her house, 2 men surround her and kidnap her. Before passing out, Nishino sees Kagano. Nishino wakes up and she realizes that she is in a room with 2 men watching her. One of the men tells her that she is being kidnapped because her father has many enemies. Kagano is standing outside the building where Nishino is. The man reminds Nishino that she was once kidnapped by a stalker, which is the root of her trauma. At that moment, the kidnappers and Nishino hear footsteps coming from above. They see a shadow through the window on the ceiling, and that shadow breaks the window and enters the room. One of the kidnappers takes aim at a masked man. However, the masked man throws a piece of glass at him, disarming the kidnapper. After getting rid of one of the kidnappers, the other kidnapper says that he hasn't had a serious confrontation since he left the army in a long time and drops his gun to confront the masked man with only a knife. The man attacks the masked, managing to wound him. However, the masked man pulls out a pair of crowbars to fight the kidnapper. The masked man explains the advantages of fighting with the crowbar while beating the kidnapper. After knocking out the kidnappers and tying them up, the masked man releases Nishino, who witnessed the entire fight. After leaving the building, the masked man removes his mask and reveals that he is Kagano. The next day, Nishino arrives at school as she normally does. When she approaches Kagano and greets him, he responds by saying her name correctly. Nishino says in her mind, it is the first time she feels that Kagan looks directly at her, and it seems that he also wears a mask in front of others. Some days later, the news of a boy who was hit by a truck and died is broadcast on television. The boy's name is Kagano Minoru. Episode 2. The episode opens up with Sid. He was collecting information from his partner, wondering what the cult was up to, and after finding out he has died in a previous life, Sid, and that he was reincarnated as a baby. In his previous life, he was a boy named Kagano. So Sid has been training in the sword for many years, but hasn't been able to reach his sister's skills. While praising his sister, he secretly went into the shadows and attacked bandits. After eliminating some of the bandits easily, one of the bandits shot a gun at Sid, but he dodged it, and he started finishing them using his slime ability. As he thought he has finished the rest of them, another strong bandit appears behind him while clashing swords. Sid explained he wouldn't last 1 minute. The bandit slashes Sid, damaging him. Sid tricks his enemy and kills him quickly. On finding the bandit's loot, he hears noises in the back. He finds a cursed living thing inside a cage, and he decides to overload it with mana. He started overloading it with mana. Soon the curse was lifted and an elf girl appeared. Sid was shocked, but because he wants to make a cool impression, he quickly ran on top of a crate. He starts explaining how she was a lost hero from the stories that was cursed into a blob. The elf asks him who did this to her, and he said she didn't need to know. After she insisted, he quickly looks around the room and says the name of a powerful cult. The elf decides to join his shadow group because he saved her life. Sid starts training with his sister, and even though he can easily win, he still loses on purpose. Now it was time for his sister to leave for her new school in the capital. When she leaves, he quickly gets on top of the water and starts walking on it. Soon he finds out that his sister was kidnapped. The elf girl tells Sid that she has recruited many people for his group, and they located spots that could be where she was being held prisoner. Sid throws a shard at the location where she's at. Meanwhile, the kidnapper started talking his sister that they should kidnap her brother also. She gets angry and breaks out of one chain. She attempts to attack the kidnapper, but the kidnapper quickly knocks her out with a single punch. One of his people comes there and says, "They are under attack," he says. They appeared out of nowhere like shadows. At the entrance, he finds a group of girls. The kidnapper decides to use his secret drug. After drinking it, he gains a powerful body. An aura starts to flow out of him. He launches attacks at them. After seeing he can't win, he smashes the ground and creates a hole that is connected to the secret passage. On the other hand, Sid finds a secret passage, and while the enemy was rushing out, he ran into Sid. He was surprised. He started attacking Sid, but soon realizes that he was more powerful. While he was about to be killed, he drinks all of his drugs, which turned him into a beast. He attacks Sid. Sid dodges his attacks and soon kills him with a powerful blow. After killing the kidnapper, Sid picks up a necklace that belonged to the kidnapper. He puts it inside his pocket and leaves. Soon his sister shows up at home in the night. Sid tells Alpha that their group needed to grow, so she tells him that she and the other members were planning to leave. Episode 3. The episode opens up on a train. and Sid starts to have flashbacks of how Shadow Garden got disbanded in his past life. On arriving at the capital, Sid notices his hair was sticking out. Then he goes to meet up with his friends, and his friends start to complain that he took a lot of time to come out. At school, everyone was trying to ask the school Alexia to be their girlfriend, but she says no. Sid's friend forces him to ask her out. Sid comes up with a plan that will surely get him rejected, but she accepts his proposal. Sid and his friends are shocked because of this. At lunch, Sid and his friends were eating ramen. Alexia also comes and she joins them. Sid eats all of her food so that she will get offended and will dump him, but the Alexia starts smiling and gets happy. Then she asks him to be her training partner. At the sparring area, Sid finds out that he and Alexia practice the same style of sword. It disgusted Alexia because she hated her sword style. Soon Zenon comes there and Sid finds out that he was the future husband of Alexia, and she hated him. After school, Alexia says to Sid that she hated that guy and that's why she said yes to his proposal. She knew about the bet and she threatens Sid that if he will not do as she tells him to do, she will report him. Then she takes out a gold coin and throws it towards Sid. Sid picks it up and acts like he needed money. The prince then tells him to do what she wants him to do and he will get paid. From the next day onward, they both started to act as a couple and tried to make that man hate the princess. One day after school, Sid tells Alexia that he liked her sword style. Hearing this, Alexia starts to have flashbacks of her sister, who said the same thing. Does she say why you say that? Sid says that he just doesn't like it when people hate things that he likes. Then Alexia leaves and his friends come there. They ask him what happened and he says it's all fine. Soon they get surrounded by knights and they are told that Alexia has been kidnapped and they have been arrested as suspects. Episode 4. The episode opens up with Alexia, and she finds herself tied on a bench. In the cell next to hers was a strange creature. Soon the doctor comes in and he starts to take Alexia's blood. She asks him why he was doing it. The scientist says that her blood had the ability to revive the demon and he was going to use it to bring him back to this world. Sid was being tortured by the knights and he kept up his act of a normal weak boy. He tells them that he didn't do anything while they kept on beating him. Now we see Alexia's sister, who tells a knight that she needed to go to find her. But the knight stops her and says that she was needed there, and they will find her sister soon. Alexia's sister asks about Sid, to which the knight says that his abilities are weak and I don't think he did it. Even if he wanted to do this, it was impossible for him as he is too weak. Alexia's sister says I also believe that and I don't want to keep him in this place for long. She tells the knight to make sure to maintain peace at the academy. Sid's sister tries to barge in to save her brother, but soon she is overpowered by the student council. Soon the knights throw Sid out on the road along with his clothes and tell him to leave. When he gets back home, he meets up with Alpha and they discuss the plan. Alpha tells him to lay low and informs him that Delta also came here. Soon Sid gets a letter and he goes out. A shoe comes flying over to him but catches it. He sees that the knights who tortured him were the ones who threw it at him. They were trying to frame Sid, but a shadow appears behind them and kills them. Soon, many places in town get attacked. Alexia's sister is worried about what's happening and she instructs the knight to protect the academy at all costs. On the other hand, the scientist starts to panic and says that they are coming. Alexia says that the Knight of the Order doesn't act until something major happens. The scientist says that I am not afraid of the knights. He takes out an injection and he injects the creature. Alexia tries to stop him but he doesn't listen. The creature soon turns into a monster and he kills the scientist. He doesn't kill Alexia and goes out in the city. Alexia takes advantage of the situation and tries to leave, but she soon gets blocked by Zenon. He tells her that it was all his doing and they both start fighting. As he was about to kill Alexia, Sid comes there and stops him. He tells him that his name is Shadow, and he lives in shadows so that he can hunt people from the shadows. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.